You pick up your phone, just for a second. 45 minutes later, you put it down and you feel worse than before. Not tired, not satisfied, just hollow, like something was taken from you without your permission. You didn't watch anything disturbing. You didn't read anything upsetting. You just scrolled, and somehow that was enough to leave you feeling completely drained. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain when that occurs. And it has nothing to do with laziness, weakness, or poor self-control. It has everything to do with how your brain was built and how brilliantly it has been exploited. Let's start with the slot machine. Stay with that image. Not because it's a metaphor, but because the mechanism is literally identical. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner ran a series of now famous experiments. He put pigeons in boxes with levers. When a pigeon pressed the lever, sometimes food came out. Sometimes it didn't. There was no powder, no predictability, just random reward. Those pigeons became obsessed. They pressed the lever over and over and over again. Far more pigeons who received a reward every single time. Skinner called this a variable reward schedule, and it is the single most addictive behavioral pattern ever identified in neuroscience. Your brain doesn't get excited when reward is certain. It gets excited when reward is possible. Certainty is boring. Uncertainty is electric, and your phone knows this. Every time you open an app, your brain doesn't know what it's going to find. Maybe something funny, maybe something that makes your chest tight, maybe a compliment, maybe silence, maybe something that changes how you see yourself. That unpredictability is not a bug. It is the product. The notification ping, the red bubble, the pull to refresh, these are all lever pulls, and your dopamine system responds the same way Skinner's pigeons did. Not because you're weak, because you're human. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's the first thing people get wrong. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It doesn't spike when you get what you want. It spikes when you think you might be about to get it, which means you feel the rush before the reward. And when the reward lands, a mildly funny video, a photo you've already seen before, the spike collapses, and you're left flatter than when you started. So you scroll again, looking for the next spike and the one after that. But here's the part that really matters. The more you feed that loop, the more your brain recalibrates. Neuroscientist Anna Lembke and her research at Stanford describes this as the dopamine seesaw. Every spike of stimulation is followed by an equal dip on the other side. Your brain always tries to return to balance, and to do that, it suppresses dopamine output after each high. The result? The same amount of content produces less satisfaction over time. What gave you a hit of pleasure 3 months ago barely registers now. So you need more. Faster, louder, stranger, more. And this is why 15 minutes of scrolling eventually becomes 45 without you ever deciding to keep going. Your brain isn't enjoying it. It's chasing equilibrium it can never quite reach. But the dopamine loop is only part of the story. There's something else happening while you scroll. Something quieter and, in some ways, more damaging. Every time you scroll past a photo, a highlight reel, a polished moment from someone else's life, your brain makes an involuntary comparison. You don't choose to do it. You can't stop it. It happens automatically, below the level of conscious thought. Psychologist Leon Festinger first described this in 1954. He called it social comparison theory. Humans have a built-in drive to evaluate themselves against others. It's how we calibrate where we stand, socially, physically, professionally, emotionally. In the environment your brain evolved for, small tribes, familiar faces, slow-moving information, this instinct was useful. You'd compare yourself to people you actually knew. People whose full lives you could see. The comparison was grounded in reality, but your phone gives your comparison instinct something it was never designed to handle, an infinite feed of other people's best moments. Nobody posts their Tuesday afternoon. Nobody posts the argument, the mess, the empty feeling at 11 p.m. What you see is curated, filtered, performed. A greatest hits reel with all the lows cut out. And your ancient brain, the one that evolved for real tribes, not highlight reels, doesn't know the difference. It processes those images as raw social data and begins comparing. Not consciously, not with logic, just a quiet, persistent signal that says their life looks better than yours. Neuroscientist Ethan Kross and his colleagues at Michigan tracked Facebook use and emotional well-being over time. The more people scrolled, the worse they felt. Not dramatically, not sharply, just a slow, steady erosion. a kind of emotional residue that builds up without you noticing until it's already there. And this is the part that makes it insidious. Scrolling doesn't hurt the way a bad conversation hurts. It doesn't feel like anything in the moment. It feels like nothing, which is exactly the problem. Your brain is being flooded with social signals it can't fully process, comparisons it can't escape, and stimulation it can't sustain, all while you sit completely still, doing nothing. Passive consumption, that's the technical term, and it is fundamentally different from active creation, reading, writing, making, building, even just talking, and how it affects your neurological state. When you consume passively, you absorb without producing. You receive without responding. Your brain is running at high input and zero output. And over time, that imbalance registers as a kind of internal deficit. Not quite boredom, not quite sadness, something flatter than both. A low-grade numbness that's hard to name and harder to shake. That is the empty feeling. And here is what nobody tells you about it. It is not a flaw. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a signal. Your brain produces that feeling because what it actually wanted when you picked up your phone was not content. It wanted connection, real, reciprocal, felt connection, the kind where someone sees you, responds to you, knows you. Content is a simulation of that. It looks like connection, it activates some of the same pathways, but it doesn't satisfy the underlying need. And so your brain keeps looking, keeps scrolling, keeps pulling the lever, hoping that the next video, the next post, the next reel will finally give it what it actually needed all along. It won't, but you already know that. The reframe isn't to delete your apps or lecture yourself about screen time. It's just to notice what the empty feeling is actually telling you. It's not telling you that you're weak or distracted or broken. It's telling you that you are a social creature in an environment designed to simulate but never deliver the thing social creatures need most: connection, presence, something real. So the next time you put your phone down and feel that particular hollowness, don't scroll back. Just ask yourself one question. What were you actually looking for when you picked it up? Because that answer, the honest one, has nothing to do with your phone. You picked it up feeling empty, and now, 45 minutes later, you put it down the same way. The device didn't fail you. It worked exactly as designed. The question was never about the phone. It was always about what you were reaching for in the first place.